Hello viewers, welcome to Tradabulls. Nifty more than 550 points lost comparatively Tuesday's close, and banks more than 1000 points lost, and IT around 700 points lost. So the selling was concentrated selling across all the indices, across all the counters. So major selling. So Nifty was down by more than 2%, and Bank Nifty was down by more than 2%. IT was more than 1.6% down, and majorly Reliance around 4% down. So Reliance last 2 days it was down by around 4%, and today another 4%, total more than 8% fall since last 3 days. And coming to all major indices, Nifty was more than 2% down, next 50 was more than 2% down, Nifty 100 was more than 2% down, 200 was more than 2% down, 500 was more than 2% down, mid cap also more than 2% down, VIX was up by around 10%, and mid cap also more than 2% down. Coming to major sectorial indices, Nifty was down by more than 2%, autos also around 3% down, financial services around 2.5% down, and FMCG was down by around 1.5%, IT was down by around 1.6%, and media was down by more than 2%, metal was just 0.66% down, pharma was just 0.5% down, PSU banks around 1.24% down, private sector banks more than 2.5% down, majorly realty was down by around 4.5%. Healthcare index was down by around 0.9%, and oil and gas is also around 3% down. So across all the sectors, more than 2 to 3% down, and our application which is indicating all bearish signals. So Nifty and Bank Nifty, IT, all three major indices are indicating bearish plus. So here daily, weekly, monthly all are indicating bearish plus. So let us see what happened last two days, and today what happened and what would be the next probable number. This is weekly's data, and since last 2 days, Monday and Tuesday, both days Nifty was closed below 25,835. So clearly 25,925 to 25,835 is the support for this week, but Monday and Tuesday, both days Nifty was closed below 25,835 mark. So Monday was closed somewhere around 25,810, and Tuesday it was closed somewhere around below that 25,800 mark. So both the days it was closed below the support level, and today it has showed the power of that one, the important support when it was broken on the weekly candle and closed below that level. So from that closing of Tuesdays till today's closing, more than 550 points, which is more than 2.1% negative. And what would be the next probable number? The support numbers. And one important point is 25,335 is the 38.2% of last month's range. So Nifty broken that level and closes below that 25,335 mark. So the next probable numbers would be 25,113 and 24,753. So 25,113 is 23.6% of last month's range, and 24,753 is 0% of last month's range. So the last month low is 24,750 mark. Might be there are chances to reach till that point because of today's huge velocity and today's huge fall, and with no recovery. Any point of the day, we haven't seen any kind of recovery. So still we may expect another 500 points fall technically. So here 24,950 is indicating somewhat support for monthly. So 24,950 to 24,670 level are somewhat bigger supports for Nifty as per monthly's data. So coming to Bank Nifty, so Bank Nifty is also closed below that 53,560 mark since last 2 days, and I think last week it was closed above 54,000 mark. So Monday it was closed below 54,000 mark, Tuesday it was closed below 53,000 mark, and today it was closed below 52,000 mark. So Monday it was closed below 54,000 mark, Bank Nifty. Tuesday it was closed below 53,000 mark, and Thursday, today it was closed below 52,000 level. So the important probable numbers would be 51,934, which is 38.2% of last month's range, but today it's decisively closed below that level. So 51,935 is the final call for Bank Nifty. So below that means somewhat another negativity may continue. So the next probable numbers would be 51,336 and 50,370 mark. So 50,370 was last month's low. So maybe we may retest Nifty, Bank Nifty till 50,370 mark. So here also there are two important supports for Bank Nifty, that is 50,740 and 50,072. So these two would be the support zone for monthly data. So 50,740 to 50,072 mark. And coming to IT also, it was closed below 38.2% of last month's range. So 42,930 is the 42,930 is 38.2% of last month's range. Today's close was 41,762. So Nifty, Bank Nifty and Fin Nifty, IT, three major indices were closed below 38.2% of last month's range. So that itself is indicating the severity of the fall. So we may expect all three major indices till that last month's low. So if last month's low breaks, then we can see the next probable numbers. But so based on today's fall, we may expect the levels of major indices, Nifty, Bank Nifty and IT may retest the last month's low. So IT, the next probable numbers are indicating 42,100 level and 41,614 levels. So coming to major indices. So sentiment wise, Nifty was closed 47 out of 50 are in negative side and just 3 out of 50 are in positive side, very nominal points contribution. So JSW Steel, Divi Slab and ONGC, only these three were closed on positive note, except those three, remaining 47 were closed on negative. So more than 544 points negative side contribution. In that, Reliance alone was contributed downside by about 100 points. And HDFC Bank was around 74 points, L&T was 43 points, Axis Bank was 36 points, ICICI Bank was 29 points, Kotak was 19 points. So the first 2-3 counters itself was almost all 100 plus 73, 173 plus 42, more than 220 points. So are the first 4-5 counters half of the contribution out of 540 points. So 50% of the contribution, negative side contribution came from only 5 counters, Reliance, HDFC Bank, L&T, Axis Bank and ICICI Bank. So 50% of the contribution came from these 5 counters. And as per weekly data, last 3 days data, so the negativity was about 46 out of 50 and positivity was 4 out of 50. JSW Steel, Britannia, LTI Mindtree and Tata Steel, these 4 are closed in a slight positive note. So JSW Steel about 7 points, Britannia 1 point, LTI Mindtree nothing. So only positive side 11 points contributed and negative side more than 900 points contribution. So more than 900 points since last 3 days. See the severity of the fall. On an average, since last 3 days, it was roughly 300 points a day. It was downside. So majorly, all top heavyweights contributed very huge data. I think I didn't see 3 days, it was more than 900 points on an average, per day 300 points. So nowadays the ranges are also coming bigger, and 900 points, so it's a huge red candle comparatively last week candle. So last week both Nifty and Bank Nifty and IT also very firmly closed. So Nifty was weekly candle was closed above 26,000 mark, and Bank Nifty was closed weekly candle closed above 54,000 mark. So but this week within 3 days it was a huge opposite candle. So the bigger momentum, the positive momentum, after a positive momentum generally markets will take some consolidation, but here no chance for the consolidation. So since last 3 days without any kind of intimation, it was huge velocity. The falling velocity is very huge. And Bank Nifty, so out of 10, 12 out of 12 are in negative. So more than 1,000 points negative side contribution today. And as per last 3 days, weekly data is indicating more than 1,900 points, about 2,000 points contribution. So out of that, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank itself contributed half of the portion. And IT 10 out of 10 were closed on negative note. And as per weekly data, 8 out of 10 were closed on negative note. So only Coforge and LTI Mindtree was contributed little bit, about 50 points out of 550 points. So majorly remaining 8 was contributed. TCS, Persistent Systems and Infosys Wipro was majorly downside contributors. And index top 10s. So as per Nifty 50, if we consider top 10 heavyweights, 8 out of 10 were closed on negative side from intraday. And as per weekly data, 10 out of 10 are closed in negative side. And monthly data, 7 out of 10 are closed on negative side. So weekly, nothing was showing upside or neutral. All 10 out of 10 are closed on negative note. Whereas Bank Nifty, 7 out of 10 are closed negative for intraday, and 8 out of 10 are closed downside for weekly data, and 7 out of 10 are closed on negative side on monthly data. So here on banks, Bank of Baroda and AU Bank are neutral. So remaining 8 were closed on downside. So coming to IT top 10 heavyweights. So 8 out of 10 were closed on negative, and weekly also 8 out of 10 negative side, and monthly also 7 out of 10 were closed on negative side. So today's the 4 and top performers. So as per daily data, JSW Steel just up by 1.15%. Remaining all are neutral to negative only. So majorly BPCL more than 5.5% down, Shriram Finance around 4.5% down, L&T around 4.27% down, Axis Bank around 4.15%, Tata Motors more than 4%. So 4 to 5.5% down, majorly Tata Motors, Axis Bank, L&T, Shriram Finance and BPCL. So as per last 3 days data, the best performer was JSW Steel, up by around 3.75%. After that, Britannia around 1%. But the major downside was by Reliance, around 8% down from last 3 days. Axis Bank around 8% down. Bajaj Auto around 7%. Tata Motors around 7%. Maruti around 6% down. Both Axis Bank and Reliance was more about 8% down from last 2 days. So the important Fibonacci retracement and extensions, that is 38.2% levels for Nifty, Bank Nifty and IT. 3 major indices closed below that 38.2% of last month's range. So we may expect some more fall for Nifty, Bank Nifty and IT too. So we are expecting that. So all 3 major indices may retest last month's low. If last month's lows breaks, then we can see the next probable numbers. So that's all about today's analysis. We'll meet our next analysis. Thank you so much.